1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Welcome back to the Racial Draft Podcast. I am your host, Michael Ford, joined by my co-host, Kia Lisi herself. Say hi, people, Kia.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
And I'm also joined by, from the Black Delegation, Randy. Randy, say what's up to the people.
Hello, hello, hello.
And if this is your first episode of the Racial Draft Podcast, I apologize. But what we do every week is we change the complexion of the comic book multiverse. And
there's nothing you can do about it.
Nice. And this is a big week for comic multiverses. As we can kind of jump right into in the pop culture. There's a cut, if you will, a 4-hour cut. Contact your physician.
First cut is the deepest.
Contact your physician if the cut goes longer than 4 hours. That's happening on Thursday, and on Friday we're getting Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
So both Marvel and DC are giving us some pop culture superheroes on the big, or the screen, your preferred screen, whatever that might be.
I'm so excited.
Nice. Like, we don't have a lot of racial draft business associated with those shows, but we may as well talk a little bit about the idea that it was, at the time, it was pretty groundbreaking that they chose to race bend Aquaman, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, honestly, when they first cast him, I was thinking that they probably were going to go like the easy route and have him be the dark-haired evil brother, Orm. Like, I legitimately thought that they were going to cast him as the villain.
Wow.
But you were wrong.
I mean, I definitely thought that they were doing what they could. They Aquaman, as we remember, was kind of a joke in the comic book spaces, in the pop culture space around comic book and superheroes. And then they were like, well, people think that Aquaman is lame. Let's put someone in the role that people won't say is lame to his face.
Yeah, I mean, they basically, if there was any other if there was anybody who could like pull off the almost like hook hand, he kind of gives me that feeling of almost the hook hand Aquaman without actually cutting off his hand. So like, if anybody could have pulled that off, it's Jason Momoa. Like, he's really good at the
yeah, I'm just touching my nipples.
I was gonna say Kia might want a different attachment than a hook, but keep going.
But no, yeah, I mean,
I could hook a little bit to the right or left. I ain't mad at that.
But he's really good at kind of giving that tough guy, but also kind of like frat bro type feeling. So it doesn't feel so much like he's trying too hard to be tough. And it comes across more that he's tough because he's not trying so hard. Like, he already knows that he could like beat you, but he's kind of laid back person, and it really works well for him.
Yeah, I mean, I still have my reservations in the sense that, I mean, I think he's good at bringing charisma and entertainment value to the role. It's just kind of weird because I do associate Aquaman with being somewhat regal. And like, I compare him to someone like Chris Hemsworth, who can definitely bring that, like, fratish vibe when he plays Thor.
Why? Because he's white?
No, I mean, as an actor. But
Yep.
he also has the Australian accent, so he can kind of, how us Americans love accents. So he can play it up when he wants to be the Prince of Asgard. Whereas I feel like Arthur, as played by Jason Momoa, just kind of seems like, oh yeah, I just happen to be the king. You
I
know.
mean, he has that laid back feeling, which is what they were going for.
And
But
what fish are like, pretty laid back.
I mean, I say that, but at the same time, I do see that he's capable of kind of the seriousness. Like I'm currently right now, I'm reading 1990. Like I'm going to like the early 1990s for Aquaman,
Hmm.
and it feels a lot like Jason Momoa. Like I mean, he has more charisma than that version of the character, but still, you kind of get that idea of like he's the tough guy who kind of has to make the hard decisions, and he's somebody who very much Jason could very much fill out that sort of idea of Aquaman and give a new spin on it that doesn't feel quite that 90s, I guess.
Right. I mean, listen, I have not read enough Aquaman to truly say whether, there's a particular incarnation of him that does fit well with Jason Momoa. But it's good to know that there is an incarnation out there that is a good fit. I still lament the fact that he's not playing Lobo because I feel like, Lobo is an extremely popular character and he would have brought. Could you imagine him going toe to toe with Superman as Lobo? You know, they, they,
Absolutely.
they really missed the ball in that respect. We're also joined by, from the Latinx delegation, Carlos. Carlos, what's up?
What's going on? I
Yay.
wanted to do my Muhammad Ali, the champ is here, but I decided it's too early.
It is a little early, but we'll give you your time. However, we're just talking about the contact your doctor if your cut lasts longer than 4 hours edition of Justice League. We're trying to move things in the racial draft ish vein. Obviously, Aquaman was not drafted this season, but in
Andre
spirit.
3000, that would have been my guy.
In spirit, in spirit, he would have been drafted, by the Polynesian delegation, considering Jason Momoa's casting.
Uh-huh.
So we were just talking about that aspect of the race bend.
I want to see, like you were saying, Momoa would have been a great Lobo, and he would have been, but I like in the other universe, he would have been an awesome Craven.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but listen, he was clearly successful with Aquaman. A lot of people wanted to see him take his shirt off and get wet. You
Oh,
know, $1 billion worth of box office later, we're eagerly awaiting what comes next in the Aquaman universe,
uh-huh.
and of course, we're all eagerly awaiting Theory Mania 2021 as we continue to pile on random rumors and speculation about the Marvel Cinematic Universe when Falcon and Winter Soldier kicks off at 3 a.m. Eastern time, but 12 midnight West Pacific time on Friday morning. I guess you can go right from your prime time viewing of the Snyder cut your right into your Falcon and Winter Soldier
Good
if
Lord.
you can handle it. What are you all guys all looking to see out of Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I'm really, really, really hoping that they lean into the racial aspect just in terms of because I believe Eli Bradley is going to be on the show, and so I hope they kind of give us, at least some aspects of truth, red, white, and black, which
Mhm.
acknowledges Isaiah Bradley as the first Captain America. I don't know, obviously I don't want the whole show to revolve around that, but I do want them to kind of, put respect on that aspect of the character.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening in the second half of the show.
Hmm.
Like I think I think in the early stages they'll probably play it pretty straightforward
Yeah.
with the action beats and setting up the sort of buddy cop dynamic.
Uh-huh.
And then once they kind of get into the plot and the mystery, they'll
Yeah.
introduce the kind of secret history of Captain America, if you will. What do you think, Carlos?
I'm basically, yeah, I'm expecting it to be tonally closer to Winter Soldier than any other MCU movie. Just kind of spy stuff, military stuff, action sequences,
Mhm.
with a little buddy cop in there. And honestly, in terms of the plot, I've got nothing. I have really no idea. Like I'm not familiar with the books that it would even be based on. So like I don't know where it's going.
Literally, the only thing that comes to mind, because I'm not like a huge Captain America person. The
Mhm.
only thing that would really come to mind for me would be Nick Spencer's run of Captain America Sam Wilson, and then like I said, Truth, Red, White, and Black, which I forget who wrote that, but I mean, basically, since they put Falcon first, I'm assuming that it at least has a bit that kind of dives into that examination of what how Sam kind of falls into that Captain America uh, niche.
Mhm. Yeah, just quickly, just to answer that, Robert Morales is who wrote Truth, Red, White, and Black.
Mm,
Just a little fact check
okay.
there.
I'm expecting the MCU version of that movie with Steven Seagal and DMX.
Exit wounds.
Exit Wounds. That's the one where the trailer was like, I'm a little bit country. He's a little bit rock and roll. If one of them doesn't say that in this show, I will be depressed, actually.
I mean, that's definitely a trailer. That's definitely a trailer quote for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see what what I imagine. One thing that I sort of notice is that since they've had a long time to market this, based on the pandemic, we know that there's going to be a little bit of we want a new Captain America who's white.
Yeah.
Um, those of you who are familiar with the comics, that that's going to be John Walker, aka U.S. Agent. So he's going to play a role in that. We also know that Zemo is back, and he was featured in the trailer talking about how superheroes shouldn't exist. So
Mhm.
he's got a part to play. And then we know that this Flag Smasher group, I think the actress's name is Erin Kellyman, the leader of the group, who you might know from Solo, the Star Wars movie.
Mm.
She is playing one of the members of that, and she's the you got your ass kicked by a girl from the trailer. So there's a lot of room for different villains or antagonists, if you will, to step in, and it's going to be interesting to see whether there's an overarching villain or whether it's almost like an action case of the week.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure if that character was supposed to be Echo or not. It's like there is like isn't there like a handprint on her mask?
Yes, I saw that, and it was kind of weird, just that they use that similar motif. But I think
Right.
the Flag Smashers also use something similar.
Mm.
There are only so many appendages, I guess, that you can.
Yeah, it would be weird if there was like a foot on your face.
Yeah, it's
You
like
know,
this is Ninja Turtles. What are we doing?
exactly. And Kia, what are you looking forward to in Falcon and Winter Soldier?
It's actually crazy. Both Carlos and Randy stole my original thoughts. Yeah.
Down
So
to the DMX, Steven Seagal.
yeah, it was so crazy. It's like you guys pulled it out of my brain.
Well, that's fine. I mean, we've got we took a week off last week, so we've got a little bit to fill in on in terms of nerd news and rumors from the various universes. So I'll try to run through them as quickly as I can. Um, there, in relation to the Blade movie, there was a casting that went around
Yeah.
for a young woman who I believe uh, was supposed to be African American, and there was a lot of speculation that I don't know if you're familiar with Carlos. There was a Blade comic pitch from a few years back. I want to say about 5 years ago
Mhm.
that was abruptly canceled, and at the time there were some people who were saying that they may reuse the pitch in another project, and this was obviously before they greenlit the this current Blade project. So a lot of people are speculating that this could be the infamous Fallon Gray, illegitimate daughter of Eric Brooks Blade. How do you feel about Blade being a deadbeat dad, Randy?
I mean, as much as I hate the idea of like him being the absentee father, I still really, really, really want Fallon Gray to be a thing. And if this brings her to live action, then I'm perfectly fine with her first introduction to the mainstream. Like I'm fine with it, and then translating potentially later over into comics, which it should have been that way in the first place.
Right. Carlos, I mean, you have Blade as part of the Latinx delegation, so might you try to claim Fallon Gray by extension in the Latinx delegation?
I mean, we'll see where that movie goes because, yeah, that would definitely be someone who
Wow.
that would definitely be someone who would like in the if they were able to use the movies to create a comic book line
Right.
basically on that. I feel like that would be an immediately
Mhm.
popular character.
Yeah. One thing that I thought was interesting is that it kind of went underreported that some of the materials promoting Blade was calling it Blade Vampire Slayer. you
Yeah.
know, and obviously one of the most famous vampire slayers in pop culture is Buffy,
Uh-huh.
and this is very could very much be the next generation Buffy, the
Interesting.
teenage vampire slayer who has a
Whoa.
mentor.
Yeah, don't try to like mess up Buffy. No.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be in the Buffy universe. It would just be someone in the same. Wait, are you a huge Buffy fan, Kia?
Duh. Duh.
I
Like
mean,
duh.
there have not been a lot of black slayers, Kia.
Um and
I mean, all we had was Kendra and her really bad accent.
I mean, like, I kind of like the fact that Black people don't have that responsibility.
Mm. You feel like
Well,
black women won't be up for the job. Is that what you're saying, Kia?
I did not say that. You actually said that as a man. Yeah, you said that. No, I'm just saying that, like, I mean, as Black women, we have enough to do. Like, seriously, you want us to like slay all the vampires too? I would never would have saved that high school. I've been like, well, sucks for y'all.
I would at least say that it opens up the possibility, like if they want the option to do that. Like, I mean, like not every Black woman has to, but if you want to, then you can kind of be like, fine, I'll do it myself, and then go ahead
No,
and just
Randy. Black women have to. They have to. It is their responsibility as
I'm
black
gonna
women.
let you say that, not me.
No, we're just playing here. But
Do we think that it's Fallon Gray? That's the character's name.
that was in the original. I don't know if they're going to use the name Fallon Gray, but that was the pitch for the character, and there were
Yeah.
some drawings that went around.
I've seen the drawings for sure.
Yeah.
I was wondering like if that could be another character to throw into like the Young Avengers pot.
I
Basically.
mean,
It could be, but there's not really anybody who fits that description. Literally other than Fallon Gray. Like there's never been like a young Black woman who's been kind of on that supernatural side. The supernatural side of Marvel, their Black characters, other than like the ones that we know, are like villains. Like even Marie Laveau, who is like a widely regarded person like in pop culture, is portrayed as a villain on that side.
well, one thing that just kind of came to mind just very quickly is that, in the same age group as, if we're assuming kind of a teenage Fallon Gray, but, Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, is in the same age group. So, if to the extent that people have wanted to see kind of a Ghost Rider Blade team up, imagine, almost a multi-generational situation where you have Robbie Reyes and Fallon Gray teaming up. I can't think of other young supernatural-esque characters, but then they could be the rivalry between Elder Blade and Johnny Blaze, that they may have history together, and then therefore their sibling, daughter slash proteges might have a little chemistry, and that could create an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I mean they have they're just now starting to kind of try to introduce um younger people of color into the supernatural side. Like we just recently got the solo the werewolf by night
Oh yeah, I forgot about that character as well.
we just recently got that. So and I think it was a couple of years ago they were talking about like they had the name Glyph lined up
Hmm.
in their lineup of potential things to do something with, and that was an Arab woman who like channeled ancient Egyptian magic to basically kind, and her motif was like the mummy kind of motif. But I mean, they don't really have that many supernatural, younger, like generally they don't have a whole heck of a lot of younger characters that get continual shine, but
Hmm.
especially not people of color on that supernatural side.
Right, but I mean, as you talk about it, I could totally see them finding a way to connect Moon Knight with Glyph.
I hope they go for it. I really do.
And possibly connecting the Jack Russell version of Werewolf by Night
Hmm.
to this newer Native American Werewolf by Night, and then you've got now a team of kind of multi-generational supernatural heroes. Yeah,
And and
I could definitely see Marvel putting out a book, teaming those characters up.
and don't give me too much hope, but maybe also like bringing back Cloak and Dagger. Hint,
Right.
hint. Marvel, please do that.
When you guys, yeah, when you were saying like there aren't a ton of teenage people of color in the supernatural realm, it's like it depends on what you're doing with Cloak,
Right.
Yeah,
because yeah, Cloak is another one.
excuse me, and actually that would be a pretty interesting lane for them in the comics. Cloak and well, I mean, I suppose they're not teens in the comics right now,
Right.
so maybe they'd be
They're
more like
like early.
mentors.
Yeah, I mean, but they're not like that much older. They're like kind of earlyish to mid 20s. Like they're not that much further ahead than like say, because you mentioned Robbie Reyes, and they didn't cast like a team for Robbie Reyes on Agents of Shield. So I don't really know to what degree they're gonna keep those characters. But
I mean, I
Yeah, it's like the
personally,
movie Drumline. Like Cloak is just like the older drummer.
like I personally, as much as I liked the Robbie Reyes on Agents of Shield, I do like Robbie's storyline being that of kind of someone who's more young,
yeah.
especially in the way that he relates to other superheroes. So
Hmm.
if to the extent that they can do a mulligan, having this generation, we can already see the stage being set for the young Avengers, but then
Yeah.
having this other sort of lane of like the Midnight Suns,
Hmm.
second generation, so to speak,
Yeah.
you know, um, and potentially having Cloak and Dagger be their mentors would also be additional mentors, so to speak. That I could see. There's places that they could take the fighting against the darkness aspect of Marvel if they
Yeah.
wanted to go that route. So, but again, this is way in the realm of connecting imaginary dots and
Yeah.
speculation. You
And
know,
we're not gonna mention the potential of possibly bringing back Nico Minoru to be part of the team also. Cough, Marvel.
Runaways. What's that? uh, Speaking of additional connecting of imaginary dots, there was a casting for an energy-based youngish character for Captain Marvel 2,
Hmm.
and one camp believes that the character could be Michael Korvac, and
Mhm.
another camp believes that the character could be Blue Marvel. What do you think, Randy? Which side do you fall on?
I am rooting for everybody black. I want Blue Marvel. I want Adam Bashir because he factors into the super science of it all, and he factors into the energy channeling power Negroes that we finally got with Monica Rambeau showing up. So yes, I want this stuff. Give me Ultimates now.
What about you, Carlos?
I mean, what do I want versus what do I think?
To start with what you think.
What do I
What do you
think?
want?
Yeah,
What do you want?
The Notebook.
Yes, I did.
I think that it won't be Blue Marvel. How about that? I think that it's gonna be there's like an unofficial quota, and they'll be like, wait, 1, 2, no, no. But yeah, I think it's more than likely. Look, we've talked about this before. Like any Captain Marvel story is either going to have to be having nothing to do with her powers or having to do with characters who absorb her powers, so that she's a little nerfed, a little depowered. You know, which they've done with Thor and the Hulk and Iron Man to a certain extent. Even, you know, like their stories in their movies are, I can't access the one thing that I think makes me powerful, and then
Your
it turns
powers
out
don't solve all your problems.
right. Exactly. So I think that that's more than likely where they're going, and I think that Blue Marvel, Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, and Miss Marvel, like it would just be too much. I think it's too much for a sequel.
I mean, unless they decided that they were really going to go in on this idea of the Marvels as a, you know, as a faction, if you will, you know, of, you know, Monica Marvel, like if they decided to go that route and give her that alias, you know, Monica Marvel, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Doctor Blue Marvel, you know, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like why not, right? I think another thing that I hadn't seen a lot of people consider is that, you know, in the Blue Marvel origin, he's not the only.
Anti-Man.
Yes, I was about to say, like, he's not the only person that develops powers. Maybe they find a way to kind of meld together the Anti-Man and Michael Korvac origins, so that you basically have two. You have both. You have the hero and you have the villain who is capable of absorbing Carol's powers.
Yeah.
So and then that allows for the Blue Marvel faction to be happy, and for the Michael Korvac-ish faction to be happy. I mean, he could be
Korvac
called.
Hive.
What did you say?
The Korvac Hive.
Yeah, exact. I didn't realize there was a Korvac Hive.
That infamous group.
Get at me, Korvac Hive.
They will find you.
But obviously,
he will find you. The
one guy. But you know, there's like you alluded to, Randy. There's obviously been a romance for the last couple years between Adam Brashear and Monica Rambeau.
Yes.
So those of us who are big into black love shipping, you know, they'd be high up in our power rankings for black couples in the comic book movies. So I can understand why there's a big group of people who are rooting for Adam Brashear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you know, I'm probably in the camp of that as well. You know, I'd also like to see him in the books every now and then too. That'd be nice.
That would be nice.
Guys, I don't know what it was, but talking about shipping, we were trying to cast we always try to cast Blue Marvel for some reason. There's a I don't know if it's a rom-com or just like a love story called Sylvie's Love. You guys familiar with this?
I've heard the name, but I'm not.
Yes, I totally saw it.
So the lead in this is former Oakland Raider Nnamdi Asomugha.
What are you talking about? It was Eli. Eli totally was like starring in that movie.
Yes, Nnamdi Asomugha.
That might be your Blue Marvel if you want to go with a ship.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of his work, but I know that he has made the transition from sports to acting.
When I saw the trailer, I didn't realize who it was, and then they said his name. I was like, well, there can't be two of them out in the entertainment.
Well, we are also joined by the illustrious official artist, work of art himself, Eli Johnson, for the Racial Draft. Eli, what are you working on right now from the art standpoint?
I'm just working on some promo for one of my books, because one of my friends got his work is on Kickstarter and stuff. So I'm trying to get like a little ad ready for his book so he can put it in that and stuff.
I mean, go ahead and plug
It's
it.
all-
Use our platform to plug your project, sir.
Plug it.
Okay, yeah.
Plug it up.
Yeah, so it's called The Formula. You can find it on Comixology and also on the official website, which is theformulacomic.com. It was written by myself, my brother, and my dad. And yeah, it's a good book, I think. So check
right.
it out whenever you can.
I always feel warm and fuzzy inside when I'm able to have a conversation with somebody and they're like, my book. I'm like, if you never really get over kind of like the fan freak out of like, this person's writing a freaking book. That's amazing.
And I thought he was talking about plugging. He's like, I get a warm and fuzzy when I hear anything about plugging.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah, we save that. We're saving that for OnlyFans.Racial Draft, aka
Sorry,
the facial
Carlos,
draft.
I had to take it there. I see your disappointment.
Carlos is like, yeah, so should I get off the Zoom? Should I leave?
Carlos isn't mad, he's just disappointed.
That's it. It's the dad in me. Not even mad, just disappointed.
But yeah, moving on. A lot of these stories. Actually, let's jump to the Flash movie, which allegedly is coming out. Allegedly, they decided they're going to bring back Iris West, and she's still black, guys.
Hey.
So in the we here at the Racial Draft, approve of Black Iris West and Kiersey Clemens, who is set to make her debut this week in the Snyder cut, as she was cut out of the original theatrical cut of Justice League.
Mhm.
We will see what kind of chemistry she has with Barry Allen, alleged Barry Allen. And we'll see whether that chemistry will continue into
related news. They also didn't they mention that Barry's mother for the Flash movie was going to be cast Latina? I believe.
I was just about to move into that story, but she's actually not Latina. She's Spanish from Spain.
Okay.
Her name is Maribel Verdú, and she will be playing Nora Allen, and who. If you pay a lot of attention to the comic book lore, she doesn't last very long. So
pay attention. It's like Martha Wayne's pearls.
So it's probably a tough spot for our girl. It's like yeah, you're gonna be cast, but how are your death scenes? Are you good
All
at
of
that?
5 minutes you'll be in this movie.
Right.
Well,
you're a flashback.
Well, at the same flashback, got it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because of the rumor that the Flashpoint is going to be involved somehow, there is a possibility that we'll see her alive in this alternate universe, and then he'll have to do a 2-for-1. He'll have to see her die twice.
Have you guys ever seen Y Tu Mamá También?
I have not, but I know she was in it.
She's in it. And people are in it. Yes, that movie is like, deep. Whoa, wait, don't watch this with your mom. Like,
is she the Mama También?
She is yes, she is.
Okay. All right. You heard it here first. If you want to
I feel like there's more that Carlos wants to elaborate on that.
Honestly, it's like an amazing film. And the sex scenes were definitely what got it notoriety, and then you watch it and it's like, this is actually like a really beautiful movie with like a lot of sex scenes in it. But
what were the times on those sex scenes?
Listen, we here at the Racial Draft wholly endorse sex scenes in beautiful movies.
Exactly. It's Bridgerton style. It's like, I can't give you the timestamps because it's like, it's pretty much always going on. But no, for real, it's a great movie.
Y Tu Mamá También.
Y Tu Mamá También. It's the first big hit for Diego Luna and Gael Garcia Bernal. Like, they're kind of the Mexican Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
And wasn't Almovar? Didn't he direct that?
No, I think it's I want to say it's Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh, okay.
Actually. Yeah,
Okay,
Alfonso
the
Cuarón.
Cuarón.
Got
director
it.
from Children of Men, right?
Yes, right.
Was that made in
Nice.
2001?
Yes,
Okay, all right, just
Okay.
double check.
it's a great movie, but yeah, but she's in it, and there's nothing left to imagine.
Nice.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, you had me at sex scenes. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Next podcast.
And staying in the realm of DC, they of the alleged movies that are coming out. They had an investor. Well, they didn't have an investor call. AT&T, their parent company, had an investor call, and obviously we're a little spoiled because we typically have Kevin Feige in the Marvel realm come out and tell us what projects they're working on. But WB and Warner's, they do things a little bit differently. They just had a big poster with a bunch of thumbnails on it. They're big into the thumbnails, as you might remember from BVS. So they gave us a bunch of thumbnails, and eagle-eyed viewers noticed a couple of thumbnails for projects that had not been announced and were not announced on the call. But people are curious. One of the names was Zatanna. Another one
Yeah.
of the names was Batgirl.
Mm-hmm.
Might there be a
Mm.
Batgirl project in the work? Might it be a video game? Might it be a cartoon? Might it be a movie? Might it be a series? We don't know because they never told us. So speculate away, guys. What would you like to see?
I want Zatanna to be HBO Max. I want her to get a show, not a movie.
Okay.
Because if you get a show, you get to explore more of who she is as a character, and you don't get just like, hey, magical girl power. Like, no, she's Zatanna. Like, she's it's very easy to reduce her to the cheesecake, and she's not just that.
So you don't want a
All right.
Zatanna CW show, is what I'm saying, in the vein of Riverdale. No.
Don't tempt me.
What about you, Carlos? So what do you think is happening in the realm of Warner's?
I think Zatanna does not sound like a movie to me
Yeah.
that Warner would put out. Not that I wouldn't go see it, but it doesn't sound like something they put out as a movie. So I would guess, actually, Randy, you're probably right on. I think it's probably an HBO Max project, and probably kind of their occult CW-ish type show there.
Okay. And what of Batgirl? Do you think that's a movie?
I think Batgirl could be a movie. Warner Brothers doesn't do the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, they don't go for the big swing. It's like, what are we absolutely sure people are going to see?
Exactly.
And it's like the biggest swing for them was like not putting Harley Quinn's name at the front of Birds of Prey. Like, that was their biggest swing. And then even by 2 weeks later, it was called Harley Quinn. Like on the marquee, because
Harley Quinn and those birds.
You know them, or maybe you don't. But I think Batgirl could be a movie that you easily just introduce Batgirl in another franchise. In your whatever Suicide Squad 2 or whatever project, you throw in a Batgirl, and suddenly you can make a whole Batgirl line of movies.
See, I actually think that it's even more likely that Batgirl's a movie because they've got the Batman franchise, which isn't going to be connected to their DC connected universe. So who better than Batgirl to be their entry point into the extended Bat family if Batman's kind of off the board for whatever reason?
And then am I remembering something about Michael Keaton being basically doing Batman Beyond but with Batgirl? Wasn't that a thing at one point?
So I don't remember if it was with Batgirl, but you know what? That could work, right? Because there was a rumor that the Michael Keaton's Batman is going to appear in the alleged Flash movie.
That's what it should be called, the alleged Flash.
And he will. But there was a rumor that he was signed on for future movies. So if the argument is that he's going to sort of take over the Ben Affleck older Batman role, and will, and like you said, will be the Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne to this Batgirl. That's an easy transition to keeping Batman in it. Bruce Wayne in it, while ostensibly making it about this female-led superhero.
keeping Bruce Wayne in the story is Warner Brothers safe. Like that feels
Yeah,
legit.
that's what I'm saying. It feels exactly the kind of both Warner Brothers and DC safe,
And it's just Mask of Zorro, but with Batman. And actually, I'm here for that. That sounds great.
Yeah. So
it is both their safe and their specialty.
right.
Right.
So you guys sold me. Obviously, both of those characters were drafted this year, in this season in the Racial Draft. So that's a great transition into our fantasy comics league scoring. We've gotten into our scoring period, guys. We finished our 12 rounds of drafting, and those of you missed last week. Take a bow, multiracial delegation. Kia, you can take a bow on behalf of Shep.
I mean, I don't want to take all the credit because Shep did a great job. I'm just glad he's holding the torch. Latinx time.
So I will quickly run down the scores from the first week, where in first place with 59 points. Sorry, 50. Wait for it. Yes. Week 1, 59 points for the multiracial delegation in first place. Second place.
Wait, hold on before you go to second place, because it's not as important as first place.
Remember you said that because it's only week 1.
Hey, who was the leading scorer on the multiracial team?
It was Wolverine, James Logan Howlett. The second scorer was Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay. Just wondering. Okay,
is it like 50? Didn't they both score 15? Or was it 15-14?
15-14.
Okay.
Second.
Second place was the black delegation for sure.
Second place was the black delegation, but I need to check very quickly because I think there's.
Time out. Are you serious? I really thought it was the Latinx delegation.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's rough, Carlos. You want to hug?
It's not so rough. Wait for the second week.
You want to hug?
It gets less rough for them this week.
Let's keep you together. Yeah, but 47 points for the black delegation in second place. Which is very nice. It was very, very nice and very unexpected.
While it lasted.
Who was your leading scorer that week?
Their leading scorer was tied between America Chavez and Dick Grayson.
So you're welcome is what I'm hearing.
Actually, no, I apologize again. There were some discrepancies with the final scoring, and I'm looking at the preliminary scoring. Their number one scorer was in fact America Chavez with 14 points, followed by Black Dick, if you will. And yes, that's where
they big in front of it, bro.
Big Nightwing.
With that respect on his name.
Maybe just for 1 week though. But we'll get to that in a moment. And third place was the Latinx delegation, 44 points, led by. You'll never guess who the leading scorer was in the first week.
Is it Batman?
23 points for the Bat. 23 out of 44 points.
He scored more than half our points.
But one thing that did bode well for the delegation is that they had the most scorers.
Yeah.
A lot of the other teams only had 3 or 4 people put up points, but the Latinx delegation actually had 9 people put up points, which 9 people is our limit. So they used every scoring slot to finish third.
When you draft Gotham City, it tends to show up.
That's right. The fourth place was the Southeast Asian delegation with 30 points, led by Steve Rogers, to be expected, the number 1 pick in the draft, and Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen. I know. The next pick after that was the Polynesian delegation. That's right.
What just happened?
The Polynesian delegation
Storm.
put up 29 points. led by
What? Isn't that more than what they did last season? No.
the entire season. We're playing Tomati. No, their leading scorers are married. Both Hulkling and Wiccan
Ah,
put up 18 points between the two of them in their book, Hulkling and Wiccan.
what did Storm do? How well did she do?
Storm put up 0 points
That
in the
is
first
sad.
in the first week.
Wow.
That is
You're in
anti-
Krakoa.
I don't like that.
Yeah. But 29 points. That's nothing. That is nothing to be ashamed of. Even Monica. She didn't put up any comic points, but she got a bonus point for appearing in WandaVision.
Uh-huh.
That brings us to the next team, which was the Jewish delegation,
Mm.
who put up
Wow.
21 points, led
All
by
right.
Barbara Gordon, who we talked about earlier in the Batgirl, who is probably not going away anytime soon. Batgirl / Oracle, and John Constantine.
Mm.
They were the two highest scorers. The next team up,
That John Constantine appearance was Truth and Justice, right?
I believe so. Yes.
No.
Next after that was the white delegation, who I gotta say they had a disappointing showing from Superman in his solo book. He only put up 3 points. Actually, he only put up 2 points because he got bonus points for appearing on his television show.
For Superman and Lois.
Yes.
Wow.
Their top scorer was actually Jonathan Kent, Superboy, who put up 8 points, which includes his bonus point for fake Jonathan Kent on the CW show. Non-superpowered Jonathan Kent, who has blonde hair. But, we were charitable enough to give him his bonus point, because he is named Jonathan Kent. But yeah,
that's a plot twist. I feel like they're going to introduce his powers later in the season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nah, that seems like a season 2 deal. That seems like a
Something like that.
yeah.
I think that's a cliffhanger.
But yeah,
Well,
Jonathan.
they have the same powers. Now that would be interesting if they decided to do something different.
No, he can do magic.
You believe
But
in
yeah, so-
magic.
And then the final 2 spots. The final 2 spots in the first week was the South Asian delegation, disappointing with only 6 points, led by Iron Fist of all people,
Wow.
and the Native American delegation, who got 1 point from John Gray Crow.
They're on the board.
1 point from John Gray Crow, and 1 bonus point from the Vision.
Right.
So
Gonna
2
be two
points.
bonus points from the Vision.
No, you see, he's White Vision, so therefore the points go to the white delegation.
I think technically neither one of them is the Vision, but both of them are the Vision.
Oh,
I
are
think
we
that's what
gonna go into the
conversation-
Theseus, the ship of Theseus? So yes, that was the first week. Again, first, second, and third place, you're all represented here. So take a bow, give yourself a hand. But that brings us to the current week, the week that just ended, where the scores are hot off the presses. Hot off the presses.
Cold off the press.
You
And
shone
I'm-
bright like a diamond. Yeah.
And I'm going to go ahead and go in reverse order this time out. With 1 point, the Native American delegation, led by Puck.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Next up, with 2 points, the Black delegation.
Nice.
That is not nice.
1 point. 1 point for Professor X. 1 point for Dick Grayson. How the mighty Dick has fallen.
No stamina there. Just
I know. He kept it up for 1 week. He brought it. Then the second week he just fell. Just such a weak fall, weak showing for Dick. But
So if you get 1 point and it wasn't on a TV show, that basically is just like you were in the book, but you didn't like do
he
it. You
didn't
were like in the
do any-
background or something.
Exactly. He was like,
Okay.
hey guys, hey, I'm here.
All right.
But that's it. 2 points for the black delegation. Next up, with 6 points, falling from not as similar heights, but still a fall, the Polynesian delegation, led by Storm and her 4 points. Next up, with 13 points, led by Matt Murdock, is the South Asian delegation.
Okay.
So they bounced. They got better than their 6 points in week 1. Next after that, the Jewish delegation with 16 points.
Okay.
This time out, they were led by Bruce Banner, the Hulk.
Not bad.
Mm.
And now we jump up a little bit. We jump up a little bit to what I think was an amazing distribution of points, if you will, where the Southeast Asian delegation scored 23 points with only one character putting up all 23 of those points. Does anyone want to guess what that character's name is?
Southeast Asian. Shang-Chi.
Peter Parker.
Never heard of him. Who is this? I forgot they had him, of course.
All 23 of the points came through with Peter.
Heck of a pick.
Yeah, having that nonstop Spider-Man book come out this week, while also an Amazing Spider-Man book came out,
Nonstop is just going to be points on points for Peter Parker. Like if that first book is any indication, they literally described it as like it's like the movie Crank, but with Spider-Man. Like it's all it is. It's just action the whole time.
I agree, and he's doing all types of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you shared with us one panel from Baron Zemo,
Right.
where I think he might have put up 6 points just in one panel.
Right. I said he put up more points than some second-round picks.
Then at this point, looking at this week, he put up more points than potentially every second round. Well, not Superman, but
Right.
Well, he definitely outdid Krakoa. I know y'all was waiting for the moment to do your little dunk on me.
I mean, I was
I
trying
might
to
have added a tree emoji at the end of that statement when I said it.
But next up, the white delegation with 29 points, led by, Superman decided to show up with 10 points. But their leading scorer was, in fact, Hal Jordan. Remember him? Hal Jordan with 12 points.
The least impressive of the Green Lanterns.
I mean, but when he shows up, they let him do a lot of stuff. That is privilege in action. His ring is powered by pure privilege. And that brings us to the upper tier. The two teams that are potentially going to be battling out for first place.
Yep. Room.
One of them scored 46 points. The other one scored 55 points. Key, would you like to guess which was which?
Nope. No, I just want to hear it.
With 46 points, the multiracial delegation finishes in second place. And with 55 points, the Latinx delegation, led by Red Hood.
Oh, wow.
Remember when the black delegation used to have Red Hood? Randy, remember when that was a thing?
I may have heard of that. Might be, marginally aware of that.
Well, yeah, so 21 points for the Red Hood, 12 points for Batman, and 12 points for Deadpool. Not a very fine showing. Very fine showing for the Latinx delegation.
If Carlos wants Krakoa still, I might be
But
Krakoa and cash considerations getting traded.
but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the amazing showings from the multiracial delegation, where once again their leading scorer was Stick Wolverine,
Yeah.
who put up 22 points, and second Wonder Woman with her 15 points.
Mm-hmm.
Big moves for the multiracial delegation.
We should have put Wolverine in our first poll, our only poll, instead of Superman, it would appear.
But real quick, I just wanted to just double check. But if you combine both weeks, is the multiracial delegation still?
I was
winning?
just about to do that. I was
is
just
true.
about to say the
I was
overall scores for those people who want to know. I will go from bottom to top. With 3 points in last place, the Native American delegation.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise. Really surprised.
With 19 points, the South Asian delegation.
Mm-hmm.
That's shocking, actually.
Mm-hmm.
With 35 points, the Polynesian delegation.
Mm-hmm.
Surprising.
Mm-hmm.
With 37 points, the Jewish delegation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Tied at 48 points are two delegations, the black delegation and the white delegation.
Yes.
I'm not in last place.
That's amazing. The yin yang.
Crazy.
But at the top two delegations with 99 points is the Latinx delegation. And with
So you're a bottom.
And with 105 points, holding up the lead by just 6 points. Oh, sorry, I left one out. My fault. 53 points for the East Asian delegation.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah.
But with 105 points in overall first place, the multiracial delegation.
Nice.
Good job, Shep.
But listen,
To all my
the
people.
Latinx delegation is on their heels. On their
I
heels.
know. I see it.
Catwoman hasn't started showing up yet. Harley hasn't started really showing up yet.
I hate the fact that you have Harley. I'm
Come
gonna be
on,
honest.
no.
Stop that. I'm so mad.
I am
so
scared
mad.
for what's about to happen with Null. Like, I am scared because they were very light on Kingdom Black this week. That just means that all of the symbiotes next week.
Oh, the Native American delegation might come on up.
Oh, they're gonna have some weeks for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I just want it to be like I'm watching Nickelodeon, like Friends reruns. Oh, Null was in this episode. Like it's just gonna be everywhere. That's what I'm hoping for.
But yeah, I mean, you talked about it a little bit. Like since we do have some delegates here, let's talk about some hypothetical trades. They don't have to be official offers, but who are some characters that you might be looking to acquire, that you'd be interested in acquiring via trade? I'll start with you, Randy.
Well, obviously, Jason Todd is really the only one that stands out as somebody who, I guess, I that I feel like everybody else on the team is like, good people that they were good selection.
Mm-hmm.
If I really wanted to like protect
Oh, we lost you a little bit,
the
Randy.
black delegation, then I would like be begging Timothy right now to like trade for Storm. But honestly, I can't think of anybody who he would want on my team that I also would be willing to give up.
Interesting. Well, I know Timothy really values Storm, so you would probably have to put together a pretty big offer to get Storm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it would be like a big bite out of like,
Yeah, I mean, if If
Some
only,
really valuable players I
if
have.
only you had drafted him over, drafted over Kakao. If only, if only.
Wait, was Storm there?
No. That to be fair, like looking at the draft order, I think Storm got drafted right before Kakao. So
Yeah.
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 Storm was the one we definitely had to like let go of in order to take Harley.
Mm.
Oh,
Like,
so
I
that
really want Storm.
I mean, I'm just a co-host. I really don't care.
Now, what about you, Carlos? Any characters that you want to just no hypothetical, no official trade off of?
I mean, like hypothetically, if Wolverine was a little more Latino, I guess I would hypothetically care. No, like that was when you asked us a couple of weeks ago, like, who do you think is going to score above you and below you? I was like, if anyone's going to score above us, it's going to be the multiracial, because Wolverine and Wonder Woman, like that's rough. That's a Twin Towers basically. And so
WW.
I would dig either one of those characters. And then you said Peter Parker was his name? I guess he's worth looking into as well.
He came with some points. Like,
It's about time. It is about time that Spider-Man.
I'm just saying. I mean, if the multiracial delegation wants to be more progressive and wants to look into a more female aspect, I will be happy to trade them my Laura Kinney, and I will take the burden of just putting that out there. Just saying.
Eli, what do you think?
Think of the draft picks for the week, or who's gonna win. Or...
Yeah,
Sure,
we were just talking about characters that have been drafted that might potentially you especially because you're not affiliated with any of the delegations, but so looking at it from a pure artist standpoint, if you could think about any of the potential trades between the delegations, like what characters would you like to see traded for one another?
Let's see. That's actually a pretty good question. I think anybody who's like one of the top scorers right now, it'd be interesting to see them go for the black delegation. That's always like fun.
Nice.
I kind of went upset. So I think that would be
I mean,
up there for me.
I mean, obviously, the trade to make is the King in Black to the Black delegation for Kakao.
I mean, it's in the name, right? It's in the name. Unless you want to change it to the King in White or something.
I knew Eli had taste.
I'm just saying,
But I do appreciate the fact that there's a little bit more competition this year.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You guys really stepped it up. I'm surprised.
Yeah, and I still think that there are characters that first of all, there's about to be an amazing avalanche of bonus points this week. Again, I remain astounded that no one drafted either the Falcon or the Winter Soldier this week. I mean, this season.
Yeah.
Just kind of left points on the table in that respect.
Or Zemo, who was also in the trailers.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose people didn't know how many episodes he would be in.
Right.
But at the very least, those are the leads of the series.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are going to be some bonus points delivered from the Snyder Cut. I think I suppose you've got Batman on your side of things.
Oh yeah.
The white delegation has both Cyborg and the Joker.
And Superman.
That is right. So that's
they got Superman. That's some craziness.
I know. Does the black delegation have anybody involved in the Snyder Cut?
I think they filmed it on Krakoa. That's possible.
Oh well. I mean, and of course, there are some rumored cameos.
But before you who drafted Lex Luthor?
That would be the Native American delegation. That would be Native American delegation.
Oh, for Clark and
they would
Oh,
get the points
yeah.
for the Snyder Cut and also for Superman and Lois, right?
So
Well,
Superman and
right?
Lois's Lex Luthor does not appear to be
Yeah, he
canon
is
Lex Luthor.
exactly.
He's
He is
from
a he is
another
from
dimension.
he's an alter universe Lex Luthor. So they by all universe rules, you know, you would have had to have drafted alternate universe Lex Luthor to
Okay.
get points for that.
Okay.
But you know, so that's a
You
little
guys are
bit
really
disappointing.
sticklers.
Yeah.
Is their
Sticklers.
universe's Lex Luthor?
Yeah, I mean
Jonathan
that would be
Cryer?
interesting though.
Yeah, that's the John Cryer.
Yeah.
The John Cryer. And well, actually, that was a good point that I should have mentioned. I will go back to the news very quickly because last week it was announced that there would be a COVID shutdown for Superman and Lois. And
Mhm.
in the interim, they will air episodes of Supergirl.
Hmm.
So starting
Yep.
March 30th, Supergirl will be airing, which means bonus points for Supergirl for the South Asian delegation, and no bonus points for the white delegation for their Superman.
Wow.
Ooh.
Good. Good.
If only they had drafted a female.
If
Good.
that is
The white
right,
delegation stay not drafting females.
I know
Yeah.
that is a weird flex. That is definitely a weird flex.
Wouldn't be me. I've never been scared of success.
But they're about to get a whole avalanche of points for the Snyder Cut, though, which I guess is fitting for the white delegation. Oh man, so Eli, it's been a while since you joined us. Now that
Yep.
you're, now that the draft is complete, I don't know if you had an opportunity to peruse the various delegations' complete rosters. If you haven't, I'll feel free. I'll read them off to you. But like, if you were gonna do a team portrait, like, what would be your favorite delegation to draw as a team portrait?
Who's on the list?
All right, well, I'll go down the list, starting with the Southeast Asian delegation. Captain America, Reed Richards, Peter Parker, Sue Storm, Spider-Woman, Human Torch, The Thing, Silk, Spider-Gwen, Namor, Shang-Chi, and Mephisto. So that's the Southeast Asian delegation.
Probably be the one, but keep going.
The multiracial delegation is Wolverine, The Flash, Wonder Woman, Magic, Damian Wayne, Conan, Jon Stewart, Jane Foster, She-Hulk, Teen Lantern, Victor Von Doom, and Quentin Quire.
Okay.
The black delegation is T'Challa, Krakoa, Nightwing, Ms. Marvel, Emma Frost, Yara Flor, America Chavez, Professor X, Black Knight, Kate Bishop, X-23, and Black Adam.
I do just
like
want to
that,
say that the
actually.
black team is just 20 times better than what it was.
Hey, I was about to say that one's pretty hard.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
The Polynesian delegation, Thor, Storm, Iron Man, Rogue, Kang the Conqueror, Monica Rambeau, Ironheart, Wiccan, Hope Summers, Legion, Hulkling, and Silver Surfer.
Kind of
Okay.
cool.
The Latinx
They're all-
delegation,
Listen close to this one. This is one you're going to be drawing up.
Batman, Harley Quinn, Catwoman, Red Hood, Hawkgirl, Null, Blade, Green Arrow, Psylocke, the Kingpin, Daredevil, Elektra, Daredevil, and Deadpool.
Okay, I like that.
The Native American delegation is Echo, The Vision, Deathlock, Moonstar, Red Wolf, Venom, John Grey Crow, Carnage, Cloak, Dagger, Lex Luthor, and Puck.
That's a nice variety. I do like that.
The white delegation
Right?
is Cyborg, Superman, Miles Morales, Joker, Colossus, Luke Cage, white Luke Cage, y'all. Superboy, Magneto, Wally West, Hal Jordan, Darkhawk, and Spider-Man 2099. The Jewish delegation is the Hulk.
Do you really want to participate in whitewashing Luke Cage and Miles Morales? Are you sure?
White Luke Cage in a white
I'm
hoodie.
not trying to draw Luke beige. I'm not sure about that one.
Not even Luke Beige. It's Luke Cream. So the Jewish delegation
Lucas Cream.
is the Hulk. It's like Luke Cage with a Boston accent. You know that's the guy. Bruce Banner, Carol Danvers, Batgirl, Cyclops, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, Zatanna, Joe Malayan, John Constantine, Man Thing, Longshot, and Quicksilver. That's the Jewish delegation.
Okay.
And the South Asian delegation, Doctor Strange, Supergirl, Daredevil, Jean Grey, Iron Fist, Black Canary, Deathstroke, Black Cat, Polaris, Gambit, Huntress, and Cable.
That might be the one actually. Between that and the black one, those are like I like that roster a lot.
You hear that? You hear that? He didn't pick the Latinx delegation.
That's because he drew half those characters last time.
That is true.
But yeah, listeners, if you have a favorite delegation team that you'd like to see Eli draw, hit us up. Both on our Facebook, on our Instagram, on our Twitter at Racial Draft Pod, or hit up any of the separate delegation delegates, and pass it along. We can't create a poll with 9 choices, but if it comes down to a final 3, we'll definitely create a poll, and then we'll give Eli the opportunity to do his magic.
Yep, and as a for future reference, if you put Supergirl on any team, I'll probably go for that one.
Or just draw scenes from Y Tu Mamá También.
I'll definitely have to put that on my watch list for the weekend. Preferably when nobody's home type of situation.
Yeah.
Watch party? What?
Now, looking at these rosters, I'm trying to think of a character that I've already said that I'm still disappointed that the black delegation didn't draft Taskmaster. But I do understand that some of these characters would be hard to part with. I still think a Red Hood. I think the Red Hood Jason Todd trade is a Red Hood Nightwing trade could be worked out.
We shall see.
Carlos is he's like, yeah, no.
I'm fairly certain we targeted Dick Grayson before we targeted Jason Todd. So
you wanted the Dick.
We did.
Sorry, you walked into that.
Walked into Dick.
What I will say is, in terms of quality, I do still think that Dick Grayson is like the superior Robin, but it's not half bad if Jason is getting more points. You gotta put respect on it. So,
Jason had 1 week though.
Yeah.
So did Nightwing, but
exactly.
But,
I think that I do think that those characters over the course of the season, it'll be a contest to watch, because I think that he will be the focal point of this Gotham Knights. That's what it's called, right? Gotham Knights Batman book, this anthology series, or is it called something else?
I think it's. Wait, is it Urban Legends? Or
Urban Legends,
right?
That's what it's called. Sorry, Urban Legends. I think he's going to play a prominent role in that. So that's not going to go away. I think obviously Nightwing though has his own solo book, so
Right.
he's going to score in that respect. I think that what will probably happen is that Nightwing will show up in more appearances, but there'll be maybe more bang for the buck when Red Hood does show up.
right.
Because people, first of all, they're always going to show him shooting his guns, because that's a thing that normally people in the Bat family don't do. But then he also has his sword skills and his hand-to-hand fighting skills.
His
and
nunchuck skills.
Exactly. But in terms of fit, though, I know it's a stereotype, but like he was the Robin that got killed, dudes. Like, he's the Robin with the chip on his shoulder. Like he's definitely the Black Robin. He was trying to steal Batman's
In the
car.
horror movie that is the Batman universe, he is the first one to die. So yes, that does make sense.
Yes, he was the first Robin to die. Not only that, but they voted for it, which means that white people probably chose that he would die.
He was literally publicly executed, and it was up to a jury of his peers.
And he was killed by the Joker, who's the whitest man in the Batman mythos.
Who walked away.
Completely unscathed.
A little bit too real.
So, I
the
don't know.
Day I said the only three characters in the Batman mythos who to me must be white are Bruce Wayne, Alfred, because no, we're not doing a black butler, thank you. And Alfred, do a tap dance. And the Joker, because I just don't believe that there would be a serial killer terrorist of color who is not dead yet.
Well, but here's the thing about the Joker, and we sort of we didn't exactly cover it in the first season, but like how he has the origin where he falls into the chemical pit and it bleaches his skin and it makes him white. Like that would be an interesting story, right? There would be an interesting story to the Joker actually.
I'm glad you said Michael
like
Jackson.
not being a white guy, but because of the bleaching that happens.
Now I'm just
goes to the
imagining
chemical.
like he's just in his makeup. I'm just imagining Michael Jackson in his makeup. He's like,
I mean, I can definitely see like scenes where Batman is in an alley and there's steam, and all of a sudden Joker just comes dancing out.
Who's bad? Who's bad?
I just learned this week that Bad was originally supposed to be a duet.
Yes, with him and Prince.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh my
You know
God,
what,
that would've
Eli?
been amazing.
You know what, Eli? I'm gonna make an executive decision. We need Michael Jackson Joker. We need a commission of Michael Jackson Joker. Maybe not.
You can turn like the Smooth Criminal suit purple.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
That's an easy one.
I was thinking either that or the bad thing with all the buckles, and the green hair,
Buckles and like,
in the green hair instead of the Jerry curls.
And tape on his
Green Jerry
fingers for
curls.
no real reason.
It could work. It could work.
But yeah, let's get into it. Because we had some interesting discussions in our chat topic about characters that like shouldn't be race bent, kind of as an overall thing. And I'm still in the belief that while I agree that white privilege is a big part of Batman, I think that if he was a white passing Latino, obviously there's the issue of the Wayne family coming from old money.
That's it.
Yeah. But I still think that, there's that other branch of the Wayne family where Martha, Martha, if you will, could be where you get the Latinx aspect of Bruce.
I mean, I guess that's fair. And I mean, and if Gotham wasn't in the Northeast, if Gotham was a city in Florida or something, then that it would make sense that a Spanish family would have founded it. But yeah, I just wouldn't want to take away the fact that that Bruce Wayne is very old money, like the oldest money in America, and that his family founded a city like that. Seems kind of integral to the character.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think in my mind, like as I kick around cities that like Gotham could stand in for. Obviously a lot of people say New York, but Gotham could also be Boston. You know, and there's a pretty sizable Puerto Rican well, not just Puerto Rican, but Latino population in the greater Boston area that could add an interesting dynamic to that city where you would still, again, part of his family is the old money, but given what happens to him, that could be like yet another reason that he would feel like an outsider, that he's orphaned and he collects this Wayne fortune, but he's not. He doesn't really know where he belongs. There aren't other family members that would take him in.
Sure.
So he kind of, he's raised by his butler, who, again, I agree with you, is probably have to be white. I don't know. I think a Jamaican Alfred would be interesting. Alfred Pennyworth. That because I don't know if you guys know a lot of Jamaican people, but they often have very British sounding names.
Yeah, like Kingston. You're like,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it would be a little weird. I agree to have this white presenting child ordering around his butler. No matter how cool he is.
How dark is Alfred?
I mean,
well, like we could negate some of this damage.
Oh, is he gonna be light skinned? You're gonna make him light
like medium, you know?
Like, yeah, like if your Batman is like the kid from Silver Spoons and then Jeffrey the butler, no, sorry, it's awkward, it's cringe, and I don't want to watch it.
It's 100% awkward and cringe. It is the kind of thing that would be in like a season of The Boys, where like you've got your Batman character and your butler who's like the guy from Django Unchained. I'll do anything for you, Batman. Yeah, fair point. Which actually is a good segue because we've been talking, spending a little bit of time talking about our supplemental draft, where we're going to be doing draft picks of non-scoring characters, basically, supporting characters from the comics. Obviously, since these characters are non-scored, things are a little bit looser in terms of the flexibility. I have to look at the draft order, but who are some supporting characters that you like to see kind of come into the black fold, Randy?
Honestly, I just purely for the spite of it all, I would love to bring in Mary Jane Watson.
Oh, like the Zendaya thing. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Make it canon. I'm here for it. What about you, Carlos?
Commissioner Gordon.
Oh yeah, the Edward James Olmos thing that Martine suggested. Right? I could see it.
He features kind of prominently too in the Joker book right now, right? Like
yes,
kind of what the story's about.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's basically the lead of the book.
Damn, should have drafted him.
I mean, would have been weird. Would have been a weird flex. You're like, Commissioner Gordon? I mean, I know he's done some things. I know he's been Batman for like a month or something. But
he was Rabbit Man. I don't care what you say. That costume did not look like a bat.
Yeah, no, for sure. And of course, he's being played by Jeffrey Wright in the Batman movie. So that's an argument for the black delegation maybe to get in on that.
I mean, Jeffrey Wright also played Peoples Hernandez in the Shaft movie, so
yeah, you're gonna try to claim Jeffrey Wright.
I'm just saying Jeffrey Wright is playing a Latino Commissioner Gordon. Gordon.
So Eli, we trying to think. We also talked about Bat family characters that could be something other than, not Bat Family, but Bat Arkhamville, if you will, kind of Batman Rogues Gallery characters that could be race bent. One of the things that we discussed was the possibility of a light-skinned black Harvey Dent.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I dig it.
What do you think about that, Eli? What do you think about potentially like illustrating the basically code switching in the flesh?
I like that. I really like that. I'm trying to think of who that reminds me of, like in real life, but I can't think of anything off the top. But I do like that.
I think Carlos, didn't you suggest Obama as like?
Well, because I'm from Chicago, so when Barack Obama was an up and coming state senator, like me and my buddies were literally like, so he becomes Two-Face, right? Like he's Two-Face.
I mean,
because for us, Harvey Dent was always black in the animated series. Like we read him as black. So when we saw this like bright, up and coming, like perfect, shining knight, we're like, clearly he becomes Two-Face in our Gotham.
I mean,
The campaign
he
was the
kind of.
origin
I mean, he
story.
became the president. It was essentially the same thing.
Yeah, basically.
Like I was living in Chicago when he was coming up. He was one of my professors in law school. So,
Oh, wow.
like it was
Flex.
just a minor, just a little
Sorry,
tiny
you
flex.
dropped this name.
Yeah, no big deal.
But yeah, I mean, you know what? That wouldn't be bad. Like a young, Barry, a young Barry Obama, Barry Dent, as it were.
Well, I mean, it's that Key and Peele sketch too, where he's like shaking hands with the white people and he brings in all the black people. Like that is the code switching.
Exactly.
That is.
Who are some other Batman villains that you had considered potentially race bending?
Who do we talk about? Because
Poison Ivy.
the whole concept was that like that you've got one of the largest cities in America and all of the villains are white, all of them. Like it's just crazy. We talked about how Killer Croc is sometimes black, which is problematic.
I still see him as one of those like Dusty Rhodes style, Southern white guys who just make good grits. Like like knows how to fry chicken and make grits, but they're still white. Isn't his name like Waylon
He's
something?
black adjacent.
I think that's right.
Yeah, he's black adjacent. He's not
Exactly. I mean, yeah, you live in Florida. I'm sure you know a bunch of like white guys that are like not down because they're still racist, but like, but like in terms of like culturally, they're familiar with a lot of things.
They're like the kind of dirt poor like people who grew up adjacent to black people, but still are like, basically their only kind of way of maintaining their self-esteem is that, oh well, at least I'm better than the Negroes. Like that's
Exactly.
basically it.
That's kind of what I see from Killer Croc, more so than him actually being black.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, he's been the times that they make him more human looking, it's almost always a black guy. Like they make him a black guy.
Yeah, like
Joker
Suicide
graphic
Squad.
novel?
That I don't deny, and that I feel like is almost on purpose. Like because we kind of anytime we get the more bestial looking the villains, we kind of do get them to have like the broader nose and the bigger lips and the so yeah.
We said Black Riddler.
Yeah, I really like the idea of Black Riddler, like almost like a Lakeith Stanfield type, like someone who like really feels like he's just as smart as Batman, but like society just isn't giving him these opportunities, so he's just constantly wants to just prove how smart he is.
I think I threw out Orlando Jones.
Is that Mike? I got Mike. You can play that guy. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, and Ed,
So that make him an anti-hero.
and Ed Nigma, like Nigma with attitude, like.
I'm like,
so many things I want to say right now, and I'm not gonna.
Say it.
Let's just say his name ends with an R, but you don't pronounce that hard R.
Riddler with a hard R.
Riddler.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for Black Riddler, for that reason. You said no, Randy, what did you think of with Poison Ivy? I think Poison Ivy would be cool as Indian personally, but let me know your take.
No, I mean I feel like she I'm not quite sure exactly where I would place her ethnically, but I would feel like she's that woman of color who has a dynamic feeling about the environment and stuff like that, that she is kind of treated as though she's too loud or she's too extreme or she's too, vocal or whatever. And so she feels like she has to go to kind of these extremes of trying to preserve or trying to reclaim the environment just because nobody's listening to her when she's talking nicely, and nobody really cares about her genius or really respects her her knowledge and all this other stuff. So they kind of, cast her off and treat her as like, she's vilified basically before she actually even became the person that we know as like the dangerous Poison Ivy.
Mm. Yeah, you see, what I was thinking is that, particularly, her being Indian, is that, even if she's grew up in America, she
Mhm.
might have a connection to India and the idea of environmental issues
Right,
affecting the global South more than
right.
they would affect, the West, and that
Hmm.
being kind of another piece of why she thinks of, regardless of whether you see her as an anti-hero or a
Hmm.
villain, either way, just the idea that she would have seen just the poor stewardship of the
Right,
planet,
exactly.
and the effects of it, and just feel like, well, the planet needs a savior. The planet needs someone to advocate for them, and
Yeah,
I'm going to be that person. And
yeah,
if that means killing a bunch of white people, let's face it, because Gotham's a white city, you know, to sort of like teach people a lesson, then so be it. So that's
yeah,
kind of like my sort of like spin on a race bent poison ivy.
yeah.
I want to say, was Clayface black in the Batman cartoon?
I'm not
I
Like
sure.
the
I
Joker that had
believe.
dreads, like that
Yeah,
kind of that cartoon. I think
yeah.
Joker created Clayface, and I want to say he was in that continuity. I
Mhm.
think he was a cop, and I think he was black.
Right, but wasn't I thought Clayface was an actor?
Yeah, not in that, like, if I'm not mistaken, like it's been years,
Okay.
but if I'm not mistaken, in that continuity, Joker, there's like some chemical that turns him into Clayface,
Hmm.
but I believe he kidnaps one of our two main police officers in the storyline, like Renee
Oh, okay.
Montoya's partner or something, and he
Right.
becomes
Oh, yeah, and that
Clayface,
guy
if
is
I'm not
black, as
mistaken.
far as I remember.
And you're thinking, oh, he's gonna make like Two-Face basically out of him, and he
Mhm.
makes him Clayface.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Clayface could be anything.
Yeah, but I do buy Clayface as a white guy,
Literally.
Yeah.
um, especially because he's like now he's Scarlett Johansson basically. He's like now he can play anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's
Part of
let's
part of
gender
me,
let's
part
gender
of
bend
me,
Clayface, and then have Scarlett Johansson play
part of
Clayface.
me, part of me feels like he would be like the ultimate horror nightmare scenario for a black person because he would like always be trying to shapeshift into black people whenever he tried to rob somebody, and then just like I feel like if he was a white guy, then that would be his mo all the time.
Yes, in fact.
Unless he was trying to like move drugs from one side of the city to another, then he'd be a white guy.
It never stopped him. Yeah.
Right. He's like, I need to not get stopped by the cops. Let me become a white guy.
Right. Like, is there a problem, officer?
Like I said, I like him as Scarlett Johansson. He wants to play every race possible.
Instead
He's
of Carla, he's
tired.
Carla.
He's tired of he's tired of being passed up for all these meaty roles in the new Hollywood. There's diversity, and he experiments with these things to make him change his ethnicity, and it goes a little awry. And now he loses his face.
But he always just turns into Scarlett Johansson. So what do you mean? Of course, I'm clearly 100% Japanese.
I cannot.
Was it Emma Stone that was like Chinese in a
It was
movie?
Hawaiian or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, she
she's
was.
gonna be Hawaiian.
There it is.
Yeah, which is why she is my fan casting for Asian Spider-Gwen, right?
Perfect.
But who are we forgetting in the obviously the Al Ghuls, they can sort of stay Middle Eastern,
You should
maybe
probably keep
more.
him Middle Eastern and not Liam Neeson.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yeah.
Exactly.
That was another thing that came up in that conversation. Is like
That's
the Nolan verse.
that's Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul.
There it is.
There
It's Ron O'Ghoul. That was another thing that came up in that conversation was that the Nolan movies get no like flack from there are no think pieces really written about how they whitewashed Bane, they whitewashed Racial Ghul, they whitewashed Talia al Ghul, obviously by extension.
Yeah.
Like they just made everybody white, European.
Yeah, they surely did. Now
Except
I will
Morgan
cop.
Freeman.
I will cop to
Except
the
Morgan
fact.
Freeman.
I will cop to the fact that I actually did not know until maybe the last 5 or so years that Bane was supposed to be Latino.
Yeah,
know,
same
Oh, the
here.
like
luchador mask didn't do it for you.
I didn't know it was a luchador mask. I thought it was like one of the pro wrestling masks, like, unrelated to being a luchador.
I was like,
Just
luchador means wrestler. You know that. I'm just kidding.
no, but I mean like the machines, like back in the day,
Yeah, yeah.
like that they weren't necessarily tied to Mexican pro wrestling.
Right.
And the thing
You
is, they
thought there
always
was Kane, then there's Bane.
yeah, Kane and I knew that he was in. I thought he was actually one of those like Mediterranean style, like because it was very Count of Monte Cristo. So I thought he was just from some. I didn't realize that Santa Prisca was in the Caribbean. I thought it was in that like kind of generic place where there's brown people, but then there's also swarthy white people.
Mhm.
And like
I mean, that is kind of the Caribbean as well. But yes,
so I
agreed.
thought
I understand.
like and they never showed him with dark skin. They always kind of showed him very light skinned. I don't think they had him in his early appearances speaking Spanish.
Right.
So I was just kind of like, oh, so he's that's the thing about DC. They don't actually pick a place that
DC very much sucks at like leaning into like they prefer to like make up a fictional place so that they don't really have to try to like, hey, look, let's find out what the what the culture is actually like over in Iraq. Let's make up Iraq, which is
Yeah.
totally fictional country. So you get to have a little bit more leniency with what their skin color would be and what whether or not they use an accent or what have you.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I mean, by using a fictional city, they'll never be accused of not accurately depicting the people of that culture.
Right.
Yeah.
Like all respect to Tom Hardy, but like it was kind of like, wait, you couldn't even give us like a Spaniard, like not even
Right.
not even Javier Bardem
Exactly.
as Bane.
And
or
Javier
something.
Bardem probably would have killed the role if we're being
He
honest.
would have murdered that role. Yes.
But he would have been in a different movie though, honestly, because because I'm one of the people who really still digs Dark Knight Rises, but I dig it because of how ridiculous it is, and the Bane voice is iconic.
It's
Like
the thing I love about the Bane voice is that whenever he speaks, the sound mix is just like, oh, let's turn him all the way up because some people complained that they didn't understand what he was saying. So Nolan, you just feel Nolan being like, oh, I'm sorry. Could you not hear him? Let me just play him to 11. The first time he comes in, like when I went to see that movie in theaters, my wife laughed out loud the first time he speaks. She's like, "Are you serious? This is how they're going to do this?" Like, it'll be very painful. Oh, okay. Everyone else was speaking at a 2, coming in real hot.
And given how poorly he was portrayed in one of those Batman movies, the Schumacher Batman movies, I was just happy that they actually had him be someone to be taken seriously.
Yeah, that's true.
But again, speaking, I'm speaking as a black person, not as speaking as a Latinx person. Like it does suck that of the like highest of the high profile Latino villains, like that Nolan just cut the legs out from under him.
Yeah, like even to like going, I thought, for instance, Batista. I thought Batista was Latino. He's not. He's Filipino. I would be down with a Filipino Bane because that's still a part of the world that was colonized by the Spanish. There is still that influence there. I would still dig it. So yeah, and he'd be great. By the way, he is Bane. That's what Bane looks like.
Yeah, he's real life Bane. Yeah, I would definitely be here for that. Wait, is he in one of the? He's not in the Suicide Squad, is he?
In this upcoming one,
I think he is.
I can't remember whether
John Cena. John Cena
for sure.
Yeah, Cena's in it, but
is Peacemaker, but
I remember he was being rumored. I remember he was being rumored for that, but I don't know if he actually got cast in it.
He's in the new Zack Snyder.
Yeah, he's in that. That's what I'm saying. But I don't know if he's in the Suicide. But yeah, I would like. I know that certain factions. I know that certain factions of Twitter would not like it if Batista was cast for Bane. But I think that kind of overall, like you said, because of the colonization, and the connection to, again, Santa Prisca's a fictitious place. It could
Right.
still be a place where Latino people and Filipino people kind of coexist.
Yeah, I went to high school with a guy whose last name was De La Cruz, and he was 100% Filipino. And I did not know that because I was like, wait, there are people from not Latin America with fully Spanish names?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, most of the Filipino people that I know have Spanish-sounding names, and it used to throw me off. I was like, "But you're
And some of
Asian."
their words are similar. It's nuts. Like they eat. There's the dish they have called adobo, which is something that we use. Adobo is a spice that we use.
Right.
So it's like I know that word. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
But I'm trying to think of. So is that it as far as the big name Batman villains?
I mean, they always do. Like every once in a while, they'll race bend Catwoman.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I'm at the point now where we should just accept that like Catwoman shouldn't be white.
yeah.
I mean, whether she's gonna be black, like with what's her name? Why am I
Halle Berry
forgetting?
Kravitz.
with a kid?
Right, with Zoe Kravitz.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, or I mean, I guess you square the circle by making her Afro Latina. But even in the comics now, I think they're trying to give her like a little bit of a tint to her, so that she's not just a pure white woman.
They need to do the three Catwomen. That's what they got to do. The Penguin is another one, another big one.
Yeah, the Penguin should probably be white.
Yeah.
He's too weird to be anything else.
Because he's another one that constantly like flouts the fact that he breaks the law and never seems to be accountable for it.
Yeah,
You
he's
know?
very similar to some former elected officials you may or may not know.
I mean, he's old money too. He's old money too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the
he's also
Cobblepots.
of the oldest money, I think, in Gotham, right? Like they're
Yeah,
also one of the
yeah.
founding families.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
How
yeah,
about Mr. Freeze race event? That would be an interesting one.
See, I'm not a big Mr. Freeze fan. So because I'm not a big Mr. Freeze fan, I just don't see the value add of making him something. I mean, he could be Asian, he could be anything, but in terms of adding a layer to his story, because ultimately he's just a weird dude that couldn't, he like froze his maybe wife, maybe not wife, depending on the interpretation, and wants to freeze the city all the time. Like I don't. Is there more to him? Am I missing it?
I don't think there's more.
That's really it.
Yeah. And black people don't
Yeah, I
like the
think the
cold.
point is
Black people don't like the cold, so I'm not buying the Black Mr. Freeze. Sorry.
I think those Curse of the White Knight, that universe that I think that they've basically made him like where his lineage is like he might have been like the son of a Nazi or something like that. Like,
I can
Wow.
buy it.
Yeah.
I can
yeah,
buy
like
it.
they lean in on the Victor Fries coming from Germany. I don't remember, like, God, it's gonna be awful if he actually was like the son of a German Jew. And I said he's the son of a Nazi. I definitely they
You know what?
linked his backstory
Let's get on that so that
they've definitely
we're
linked
not
his story back to World War II era Germany. But I
So
can't, like, I
what about-
didn't finish the book, so I don't remember exactly.
What do y'all think about maybe a black scarecrow?
So based on the idea that black people are scary? Is this
I
what we're doing?
mean, possibly, I guess, but like I don't know. I'm not really sure. He's not really one of like my faves either. I'm just I'm interested in what y'all think about potentially could come out of that, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know what it adds to it, but I don't know that it needs to add anything. So
I mean,
you know, like when people are like, "Well, what does it add to it to make him black?" Well, what did it add making him white? Like that, you know,
Oh, yeah, no,
he
I
can
agree
just
with
be a
that.
black guy.
sure, I definitely agree. I mean, I guess I'm thinking about the fact that, like, if we get into the story of Jonathan Crane, first of all, very Sleepy Hollow, right? You know, like we're in my head canon, he's a descendant of Ichabod Crane, right? So he's in it. To me, it always imprints as like a skinny white dude who's obsessed with fear, and like I don't know. It's like our stereotypes and our stories of what we see in society is someone who is is fearful, therefore he decides to study fear to make people fear him, and that just reads as white guy, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to create the horror movie for everybody where he survives.
So
I am
Jordan
the
Peele is Scarecrow.
I am the only black person that survives.
Okay, so I'm reading the synopsis to White Knight Presents Von Fries because I wanted to make sure. So the story is about how Victor Von Fries had his like dueling father figures, and one was his actual father, a Nazi scientist, and then his research partner who was a Jew.
I see.
So it's Baron Von Fries and his research partner Jacob Smithstein.
Gotcha.
And basically, as the Third Reich is coming to power, their friendship and their partnership diverges, and
That's
I
a good
believe
story.
it's Jacob Smithstein's daughter who is Nora.
Oh,
That continuity, that White Knight continuity is like my favorite Batman because it makes everything canon. Like the animated series, the 60s stuff, like everything is fair game. It's awesome. Like, I highly recommend reading the Batman Curse of the White Knight stuff. It's great.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I mean, I like the idea of him having the sort of like Nazi science behind the freeze technology as being kind of like another layer of why it's forbidden and why you know he's dabbling in some stuff he shouldn't be dabbling in order
and then
to...
I think it's like, if I'm not mistaken, again, that like there is a giant freeze machine from Baron von Fries from World War II era under Wayne Labs. And it's like he was brought over and allowed to continue his research or whatever.
Like a Project
the same way
Paperclip
NASA used Nazi scientists.
Yeah. Which sounds even more shady when it's called NASA. It's like NASA.
Nazi with an accent.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
So wait, the first book in that series is called Batman White Knight, not Curse of the White Knight. That's the sequel. Batman White Knight is like one of my favorite Batman stories. It's so good.
Yeah. I've been meaning to get into that. It's just that it's like every now and then I have to make tough choices as to like which branch of the DC continuity to keep putting money into. Like if it's now on DC Universe for free, then I'll probably be able to dive into. But you know, those books, they look like like $1 million in terms of like the art.
And that story was like the first one I ever saw that was like, hey, land developers probably love Batman because he's always like, buildings are always being destroyed and something needs to come back up in that space. And so like there's this whole thing about corrupt Gotham and like how they're basically profiting on the existence of a Batman. It's a great story.
Right. And then you could you can tie in the logic of why these villains seem to keep getting out of Arkham, because Batman needs somebody to fight.
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy. I knew it.
So switching gears to Marvel, since you got the Latinx delegation gets to control the streets both on the Gotham side and on the New York side.
Every time I look at our roster, I just hear, "We gonna run this town tonight."
Obviously, you had the great stunt cast or the great fan casting of Fat Joe as Wilson Fisk. Have you given any more thought into like kind of fleshing out the Daredevil side of, especially given our draftings where there's South Asian Matt Murdock, but you got Elektra on your side of things.
So like I'm really like when I was looking into Elektra, the backstory of Elektra, it was so similar to Psylocke, like so similar to Quanon, that it was just like, to me, it's like, how have they never had a book together? That drives me nuts. Like that should be a title. I would totally read a series about these two women who are like sisters because of their time with the Hand. And then Wilson Fisk, also a member of the Hand. So I just like that dynamic.
So would you do it as a like secret history, like they have a past that had not been explored, and then they do a story, like one of those like dual things where they have to team up in the present, but in the course of them teaming up in the present, they explore the past that they shared.
That's exactly what I would do. Yes, where they were like basically partners, BFFs, and basically sisters, because they're so similar. Like there was literally an Elektra action figure in the 90s that they just repainted and sold as Psylocke. Like that's how similar even their character designs are. Like to me, it just makes so much sense to keep them, like to tie them to each other, to bind them, to make them basically sisters. And I would love a story where they were tight and now they're not, and maybe they were enemies going after the same thing and now they've got to team up because of it or whatever. Like, just give me that. I would read it all day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm imagining a situation where someone that they thought they had killed back in the day, before they had their schism, is back, and he's targeting, both of them.
Perfect. Yes.
And maybe
maybe
in the interim, like he builds up a little empire. He's got his own ninjas on board. He sends like one group of ninjas to Hell's Kitchen, another group of ninjas to Krakoa somehow.
Wow, they're mutant ninjas who can teleport.
But I'm here for it. And then somehow they forget for a while. They've forgotten for a long while that Wilson trained with the Hand. I'd like to see them bring that back.
And just the I think that the Netflix series really did a nice job of like tying Wilson Fisk's operation to what the Hand had going on, but keeping it kind of separate still. In terms of what your question, I think as you're gaining power, and that's what Wilson Fisk is all about, is just amassing more and more power. It can't just stay focused to your neighborhood anymore. Like you've got to branch out. And so he would definitely start running crime in other minority neighborhoods first, and then work it all the way up. And then suddenly, wait, he's the mayor, and he's the mayor of New York now. And because every borough is voted for him, because he controls all of it anyway.
And I suppose that'd be a good way to make Madame Gao from the story. I mean, from the show canon in the books.
Yes, exactly. God, I loved Madame Gao until the Defenders.
I mean, just put a blank there. I loved X until the Defenders. The best thing that happened, the best thing in the Defenders was probably Luke and Danny finally meeting.
Yes, yep. That's it.
Probably.
Madame Gao was like one of the best villains that was in Marvel, until suddenly she was like not even the highest ranking.
They're like, no, we gotta push Sigourney Weaver, guys. It's really like we gotta Sigourney Weaver casting, and it's really important. That
not only is she not the head of the Hand, but her boss is a white lady. What?
Right.
Isn't that always the case? We didn't. The term Karen didn't exist yet, but I feel like it definitely needs to be retroactively applied. But yeah, like there's an alternate universe where the Defenders would have been as successful as the Avengers as a movie, and all of a sudden the Netflix stuff becomes something that Netflix will pay for whatever to keep.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to me how they saw how badly Iron Fist was received, and then they didn't think like, hey, golly, maybe we need to like step up our game for the next thing that's kind of on the way. They kind of just went through with Defenders and.
But if I remember correctly, they weren't made concurrently, but they were made very close in time, so they didn't have enough time to pick.
Yeah.
Like one of the reasons that they chose Scott Buck, sadly, was because he was good at delivering things very quickly, like turning
Mhm.
around projects quickly. And
Yeah.
they knew they wanted to do Defenders, and they had a compressed time frame, so they gave the series to Scott Buck so they can get it out in time for the Defenders. So I think they really I think they crossed their fingers and hoped that people would notice how bad Iron Fist was, and then they just go right into Defenders, and Defenders would be good. But unfortunately, it was like back to back of Iron Fist not being good and
Yep.
Defenders not being good, and it caused people to start questioning like, what are we even doing here with this
Exactly.
Marvel Netflix thing?
Right. Exactly.
The genius
Yeah.
of the
Scott
MCU is that it's one story, but if one of those movies isn't great, you can just forget about the happenings of that movie and still know the overall story. Like
Mhm.
I could not tell you what happens in Thor: The Dark World. I don't remember. I think it involves placenta. I think somehow that was an Infinity Stone. But I don't remember that story very well. But I can tell you, overarching how it ties into the rest of the saga. For the Netflix movies or the Netflix shows, it was like dependent on like you had to have seen every one of those stories to understand what was going on in Defenders. Unfortunately, one of those stories was awful, and it was 12 episodes long, like
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, it
And
was
so you didn't care because most of us, no, half of us probably didn't even get to the end of Iron Fist to
I
see.
didn't
And
even
so when
start.
Defender,
Yeah.
yeah, so when
and of all
there
the
you go.
series, it probably tied the closest to the story of the Defenders because of the hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Attack of the Clones syndrome.
Yeah.
But it
Right.
did it
I
in a
mean-
way too that it also tied all of the other series.
Mhm.
Jessica Jones the least, but it
Right.
tied like Daredevil and Luke Cage to the hand so much that like it's like, well, now I have to watch Defenders
Yeah.
with Iron
Yeah.
Fist,
Yeah.
like, or else I won't understand what's going on in the subsequent seasons.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I will at least say that Iron Fist season 2 was better, relatively speaking.
Well,
And so
actually, I mean, a lot of the season twos were better.
Yeah.
Luke Cage season two. Well, sorry. So the first half of Luke Cage was season one was really good, but the
Mhm.
second half of Luke Cage season one was bad. I would say that the overall quality of Luke Cage season two was better than the overall quality of Luke Cage season one, but maybe didn't hit the highs that Luke
Right.
Cage season one hit. Whereas, Iron Fist season two was better by any measure than
Yeah.
Iron Fist season two, season
Yeah.
one.
Daredevil
but
season 2 is not better
Yeah.
than Daredevil season 1.
that's
That is true.
And for the same reasons though, of like Luke Cage, Daredevil season 2 is 2 seasons, and it's like directly in the midpoint where it stops. Like suddenly it's all building up to a trial, and the trial ends, and you're like, we've got like 6 episodes left. What is this series, this season even about? And then it's about something completely different.
Yeah, it's basically the Punisher part of Daredevil and then the hand part, and the
Right.
hand part just didn't land.
Did not.
But I also think that what they should have done, they really should have just said, we're not doing a Luke Cage and an Iron Fist season 2. We're just gonna do Power Man and Iron Fist.
Heroes for hire, yeah.
Like
Mhm.
people would have, especially because coming off of the Defenders, people kind of liked the chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah.
I think that would have been the way to go. And what they maybe could have done is they could have done a thing where they switched off characters. Obviously they had different showrunners and different creative teams. So they would have brought them together. They could have done maybe a little bit of a longer season, maybe 16 episodes as opposed to 13, and had a few solo episodes for each character, but then had a few episodes of them teaming up. But it was still Power Man and Iron Fist, one season, one team up.
I am still very much hoping that they bring those characters back together over on Disney Plus. I still want my Heroes for Hire, my Power Man, Iron Fist. Like, give me something. Like, I don't want to just like completely forget that those characters teamed up.
I think that I honestly, I think that we're not going to get solos of Luke Cage and Danny Rand
Right.
again. I think that the
Right.
next time we see them, they will be
Yeah.
teamed up already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, what I'm hoping is that they don't forget about Misty Knight and Colleen Wing.
Well,
You know,
that's why I say the whole team up. That's why I say heroes for hire. Because as much as I like getting to explore Luke Cage, and I like to the second season of Iron Fist. I will at least they were good, but I want to see the whole team dynamic of them being put on a heroes for hire team.
right. I mean, I would like to see it as well as the GIF meme would say, um, but I think that in terms of priorities, they're probably more apt to introduce us to Danny and Luke first,
Mhm.
and then Colleen and Misty second.
Yeah.
With maybe within the context of a series or movie, but I think that the primary leads would be Luke and Danny,
Right.
and then they would introduce the other two as the secondary leads
Yeah.
or potentially guest stars depending on whether it's a movie or series.
Mhm.
I could definitely see that. I could see but to the extent that the marketing would be like Heroes for Hire, I would see it being like Luke Cage, Danny Rand, Heroes for Hire, and then like in the smaller print, like featuring Misty Knight and Colleen Wing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely see those characters returning to the MCU. I don't see them returning alongside Daredevil. I think Daredevil can stand on his own.
Daredevil, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is it confirmed that he's going to be in Spider-Man 3, or was
It is
that?
not confirmed, but there are site pictures that
Mhm.
show Charlie Cox there. So
So I hope that they go that route, because like we haven't had Daredevil ever team up with Spider-Man in live action. I want to see it. One of my first readings of Spider-Man was an issue where he and Daredevil teamed up. And I don't know. I was actually on another podcast earlier, and I was kind of discussing like where.
Peter.
Well,
I know podultry, as they say. But
well,
go on. Talk about your
we
dalliances with other podcasts.
Mhm.
y'all know that our relationship is casual. Like we're exclusive. But no, I was talking on another podcast, and I was thinking how it would be really great if we could see Jessica Jones show up on She-Hulk
Yes,
as like she's a
as the
private
private
investigator.
investigator for the law firm. Yeah, for sure.
So that would be like really great that if they didn't completely just like throw away those castings of the good the good casting of those characters. And
I honestly, sorry to interrupt, but I really just
Oh,
would
go
love
on.
to
I mean,
see
you're the co-host. Go ahead.
Wanda, Wanda and Jessica Jones together.
Interesting.
I think that
You
like
think the
their
actors would have
past.
good chemistry?
I think they would, but also like they're kind of rooted in trauma.
hmm
So I'd
Mhm.
like to see how they merge together and do their thing.
It would be kind of fun if like one of the storylines in She-Hulk, depending on where it fits in, timing, is like her facing charges for Westview.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people are thinking that she has to face some kind of consequences. So I wouldn't be surprised if they brought that up.
And then you could bring in Jessica Jones as again one of the private investigators for the law firm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That actually would be a cool I mean, we've talked about different things that the She-Hulk show could be, but imagine one where like, you finally get all the different heroes having to like go back through the different movies and TV shows and have people get charged civilly or
And be
criminally
accountable.
for the different things that they did. You
Yeah,
know, um,
exactly.
obviously, Tony would be the biggest defendant, but he's no longer with us. But yeah, I'm as someone who really loved the Dan Slott run of She-Hulk, I would love, you know, if they focused on the clients being superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of characters that I definitely want to see Misty and Colleen back.
Yep.
I know Heroes for Hire is probably the best place for them to be introduced. But in terms of Daredevil and Spidey, I guess because of the age difference, I'm not as psyched about seeing them together as I would if they were, if Peter was an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that dynamic's always gonna be off, because like Charlie Cox is in his 30s, and Peter like in the storyline is gonna be like under 20.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I mean, I like Charlie Cox in the role. I won't be upset if they bring him back to play Daredevil. I will be upset though if the Daredevil that he plays in the proper MCU like doesn't have like all the power ups that the
Right.
comic version of him has. If
Right.
he was kind of nerfed in the Netflix stuff. So I need him to be at the level of like both as a fighter and in terms of superpowers to play along with even the like Falcon and Winter Soldier level guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like based on what we saw, I wouldn't pick him. I wouldn't pick Netflix Daredevil over Winter Soldier. Would you?
I would not.
And that, but in the comics, I would. Right?
Yeah. I mean, he's like, him and Elektra are like the among the top tier fighters.
Right. So hopefully they do a good job of leveling him up. Hopefully they give him a nice little streamlined suit. They depict his radar sense very well, and almost basically like a version of the spider sense.
Yeah, and also, sorry, in the context while we're mentioning it, while I mentioned Elektra, it kind of makes me think of like when they finally bring up the proper Thunderbolts as a thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I hope that she's part of that team because it's like, they're not gonna do a perfect recreation of neither the Zemo team nor the Elektra version of the team are going to be perfectly recreated, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they could possibly do like an amalgam of those characters who are villains being retasked for doing good.
Yeah, I mean, to sort of tie it in, obviously, Falcon and Winter Soldier hasn't started yet, so we're not going to do like a full-on reaction cast yet,
Right.
Until the show airs. But we might as well throw out some of our, speculations, as it were. And yeah, one of my big speculations is that there will be Thunderbolts referenced, if not named specifically in Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
because I think that characters, obviously the timing will be a little bit off, but I think that characters from Black Widow will, particularly Taskmaster, will be
exactly.
part of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I'm expecting Taskmaster, but also Yelena Belova.
Yeah. Was she confirmed for this series or for Hawkeye? I know she was confirmed for Hawkeye, but was she confirmed for this series?
I don't believe she was.
Okay, so she could be a surprise appearance.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I think the Thunderbolts are going to be part of this series at some point, and I think that I think that Ross will probably show up and talk about how, like, because I think we had talked about this. Like, I think the Thunderbolts will be something Suicide Squad-ish for Marvel, but they'll try to do what they can do to distinguish it. And I think that I could imagine a world where they want Captain America, their Captain America, corporate Captain America, to be the leader of their Thunderbolts team.
Yeah.
And and that could tie into why they're mad at Sam and mad at Bucky, because maybe they wanted one of them to lead the team and they turned it down. So they're like, well, we need a shining, golden boy to make this thing work, of these reformed villains, as superheroes. So they
Yeah,
kick.
and on top of that, well, I was about to say, and on top of that, in addition to potentially them turning down the role, John Walker is like I believe he possibly could end up a part of the team if not leading it, but he is somebody who is a bit more as a military man. He's kind of he falls more in line.
Oh
He'll
yeah,
be
for
a
sure.
little bit less likely to kind of question authority and kind of be defiant. He'll be more likely to be like the little soldier, and that might be where they find him more appealing in terms of being that sort of government brand Captain America.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see. I mean, I see that, but I guess I was just thinking in terms of like the impetus for bringing him in the first place would be that
Mhm.
they need not that they need a Captain. I mean, this was a discussion that we had. Like, not that they need a Captain America just to have a Captain America, but they needed a Captain America specifically to make this Thunderbolts concept work.
Right, right.
The Avengers are sort of disbanded. The Avengers, even
Mhm.
before, because of the whole Sokovia Accords thing,
Right.
they wouldn't play ball. So this is the official. Everyone signs the Sokovia Accords. Everyone, these former villains get like a clean slate if they agree to sign
Exactly.
the accords and
Exactly.
serve their country. But they need like a true blue hero to
Right.
to be at the forefront of it. And
Mhm.
you know, for
Exciting
whatever
stuff.
reason, like Sam and Bucky don't want to play ball with that. So they're like, well, we'll just get ourselves a Captain America, and people will be on board with it because it's Captain America, even if it's not the real
Mhm.
Captain America.
Yep.
Who the rest of the world thinks is dead, by the way.
True.
They think Steve Rogers is dead.
Mhm.
I mean, he might be dead.
By now, yeah.
Well, I mean, depending on when Winter Falcon is taking place, yes, he might be dead, but he also was alive, very, very much alive at the end of Endgame, just very
Yeah.
old.
That's true. He wasn't even really that feeble. He was just
No.
kind of like, he looked like he could run for president,
Maybe dead.
Well, does he look like he run for president, or does he look feeble? Which one?
He looks like he could be the current president.
He's dead, or he may be Joe Biden.
Right.
We haven't seen him in the same room before. Just saying.
Yeah, that's what happened. Steve Rogers faked his death, got a brand new identity, and then defeated Donald Trump in the election.
That's it.
Could not.
So he's currently serving as the U.S. president, which is why he can't be Captain America. Like,
It makes sense, actually.
When did they say they're bringing back? They're bringing back Blonsky.
Yep.
Oh,
Annihilation. Not Annihilation.
Abomination.
Abomination. Thank you.
Yeah. They have said that, but not the actor, I believe.
Not Tim Roth. Oh.
Not Tim
I'm
Roth.
fine
Right.
with that. I'm fine with that. As long as we get the character back.
And again,
I'm-
that's another good fit for the Thunderbolts.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like they've got a Hulk-ish person.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think the pieces are there. I think that hopefully this time next week we're talking about like how awesome. How awesome it was that Mephisto showed up at the end of the first episode of that the Magneto was there. It was crazy. It was,
Marvel and Reed Richards.
Woo's
the
Witness.
Inhumans. There was a Terrigen bomb. It was, like
Tupac.
yeah, like I know when Tupac showed up, that's when they really hit their next level. Like, Kevin Feige.
He was wearing the
you're
Jordans that hadn't
man.
even come out yet.
All right, guys, that's probably where we need to leave it. Like, anyone want to give the last words? Not their last words, but the last words of the podcast.
Null is coming.
No.
Anything is possible.
Hey,
Yeah. Well,
be easy, Randy. Drop your socials. Plug your projects. Let the people know where they can find you. I'll start with you, Randy. Don't drop those words ever.
I am on Twitter at RandyS0725. And I commonly use the hashtag superpowerlist if you're interested in engaging me on Twitter. And yeah.
Eli?
Usually Art by Atlas on everything. Sometimes if it's taken, Art by Atlas 0. And you can find one of my books, most of my books on Comixology, actually. So you can find me there by my full name, Elijah Isaiah Johnson. And
wait. Drop the names of the books, my sir.
So we've got Leaders of the Free World 1 through 2. 3 is about to come out. We've got The Formula, issue 1, Shaka, issue 1. There's a bunch of books, so yeah. Check me out.
Yeah, keep
Comixology.
naming them.
Like
Where
flex,
is Art by
flex.
Atlas already taken?
I don't know. It's like some kind of a.
Yelp.
It's like the Agents of Atlas is what it is.
Some people just take names and they don't use it, and you go on the page and there's nothing there. It's like, whose idea was this?
They just took the name out of spite to you. Like,
I must be. I got haters I don't know about.
It's a dude named Art who stands by atlases all the time. It's like, I'm Art. Buy an atlas. Art by Atlas.
And what about you, Carlos? Where can
I'm
people
on
find
Twitter at Carlos Freitas Jr. because I am the younger Carlos Freitas. I'm also on a podcast called Hey Do You Remember, which, Hey Do You Remember, is a podcast I've been doing for 8 years, and we actually just recorded our final episode yesterday. So there's a lot. There's 8 years of podcasts there to discover.
So yeah, go back to the archives so that you can remember. Hey, do you remember when they return in like 10 years for their reunion show?
That show is so
It's
old
called
that we
Hey,
did
Do You
our
Remember? Do you remember?
our final episode is Hey, do you remember? Hey, do you remember? That show is so old that I did the early advertising for that show on the IMDb message boards.
Wow.
oh my God.
Yeah, which no longer exist for good reason.
And Kia, where can people find you?
And you guys can find me on Clubhouse at Kia Bism. Or no, actually, no, I'm wrong. That's Twitter at Kia Bism. And you can find me on Clubhouse at FRANKIAB or Frankia B. And yeah.
No OnlyFans yet? No OnlyFans yet?
Not
Not
yet.
yet. But it's coming. Those little pinky toes are coming.
Well, listeners, if this is your first episode, I apologize. But if this is not your first episode, we thank you for continuing to join us, continuing to being part of our racial draft journey. Hopefully you're back with us next week. Hopefully you're part of the social media following. Racial Draft Pod on Twitter, Racial Draft on Facebook, Racial.draft on Instagram. You can check out Eli's art all through our pages. You can check out the different draft picks. You can check out our old archived episodes. We're still a work in progress, but we're still progressing. We're doing big things in the coming years, and in the coming years plural. We've got a lot on our in our purview, so to speak. And if you want to be part of our community, you can hit me up at MTFIII on Twitter. If you want to hit up any of the topics and talk further about some of the things that we've talked about on the podcast. If you want to hear future podcast episodes, talk about your topic du jour, you can support us on Patreon. You actually get, as a Patreon subscriber, the ability to talk about the ability to suggest what topics we talk about on our episodes. So, we may even let you talk to us on the podcast. Maybe.
That's exciting.
But we'll have to vet you first. There's some bad people on the internet. I don't know if you've heard. But until next time, guys, all things are possible.